నమస్కారం నా పేరు వినయ్ కుమార్ దూరదర్శన్ వార్తలకు స్వాగతం హెడ్లైన్స్ చూసే ముందు కరోనా నిబంధనలు చూద్దాం కరోనా నియంత్రించేందుకు ప్రతి ఒక్కరూ మాస్క్ను తప్పనిసరిగా ధరించాలి ముక్కు నోరు కప్పి ఉంచేలా సరైన పద్ధతిలో మాస్క్ను ధరించాలి తరచూ చేతులను శుభ్రం చేసుకోవాలి వ్యక్తిగత పరిశుభ్రతను పాటిస్తూ భౌతిక దూరాన్ని తప్పక పాటించాలి అర్హులందరూ వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోవాలి నిబంధనలు పాటిద్దాం కరోనాను జయిద్దాం ఇప్పుడు హెడ్లైన్స్ చూద్దాం ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ మన్ కీ బాత్ కార్యక్రమం ఈ రోజు ఉదయం 11 గంటలకు ప్రసారం తెలుగు అనువాదం వెనువెంటనే దూరదర్శన్ సప్తగిరి యాదగిరిలో ప్రసారం ఢిల్లీలోని కరియప్ప పరేడ్ మైదానంలో ఎన్సీసీ 75వ వార్షికోత్సవ వేడుకలు పాల్గొన్న ప్రధాని ఎన్సీసీ పరేడ్ ఏక్ భారత్ శ్రేష్ఠ భారత్ స్ఫూర్తిని చాటి చెప్పిందన్న మోదీ రాజస్థాన్లోని భిల్వారా జిల్లాలో భగవాన్ శ్రీ దేవనారాయణజీ 1111వ అవతార మహోత్సవ వేడుకల్లో పాల్గొన్న మోదీ సమాజంలో అణగారిన అట్టడుగు వర్గాల అభ్యున్నతికి నిరంతరం కృషి చేస్తున్నామని వెల్లడి రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్లో ఉద్యాన్ ఉత్సవ్ను ప్రారంభించనున్న రాష్ట్రపతి అమృత్ ఉద్యాన్లో ప్రత్యేక ఆకర్షణగా నిలుస్తున్న తులి పుష్పాలు మార్చి 26వ తేదీ వరకు ప్రజలు సందర్శించేందుకు అవకాశం చీరాల వేటపాలెం రైల్వే స్టేషన్ల మధ్య విద్యుత్ సరఫరాలో తలెత్తిన సమస్యలు పలు రైళ్లు నిలిపివేసి మరమ్మతులు చేపట్టిన అధికారులు ఇబ్బందులు ఎదుర్కొంటున్న ప్రయాణికులు లక్నో వేదికగా భారత్ న్యూజిలాండ్ జట్ల మధ్య నేడు రెండో టీ20 గెలుపుపై ఇరు జట్లు ధీమా ఇక డీటెయిల్స్ చూద్దాం ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ తన మనసులోని భావాలను దేశ ప్రజలతో పంచుకునే మన్ కీ బాత్ 97వ సంచిక ఈ రోజు ఉదయం 11 గంటలకు ప్రసారమవుతుంది ఆకాశవాణి సమన్వయంతో దూరదర్శన్ ఛానళ్లు మన్ కీ బాత్ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ప్రసారం చేస్తాయి ఈ కార్యక్రమ తెలుగు అనువాదం వెనువెంటనే దూరదర్శన్ సప్తగిరి యాదగిరిలో ప్రసారమవుతుంది
श्री नरेंद्र मोदी भारत की जनता से साझा करेंगे अपने मन की बात
నేషనల్ క్యాడెట్ కోర్ ఎన్సీసీ 75వ వార్షికోత్సవాన్ని పురస్కరించుకుని ఢిల్లీలోని కరియప్ప పరేడ్ మైదానంలో శనివారం నిర్వహించిన కార్యక్రమంలో ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ ముఖ్య అతిథిగా పాల్గొన్నారు ఈ సందర్భంగా డైరెక్టర్ జనరల్ ఎన్సీసీ లెఫ్టినెంట్ జనరల్ గుర్బీర్ పాల్ సింగ్ పరేడ్ కమాండర్తో కలిసి ప్రధాని ప్రత్యేక వాహనంలో పరేడ్ను పరిశీలించారు ఈ సందర్భంగా నిర్వహించిన ఎన్సీసీ కవాతు అందరినీ ఆకట్టుకుంది ఈ కవాతులో బాలికల కంటింజెంట్స్ సౌత్ జోన్ వెస్ట్ జోన్ కంటింజెంట్స్తో పాటు అర్జెంటీనా బ్రెజిల్ ఫిజీ కజకిస్తాన్ మాల్దీవ్స్ మారిషస్ మంగోలియా మొజాంబిక్ న్యూజిలాండ్ రష్యా సీషెల్స్ సూడాన్ యుఎస్ఏ యునైటెడ్ కింగ్డమ్ నేపాల్ దేశాల క్యాడెట్లు కవాతులో పాల్గొన్నారు ఎన్సీసీ 75వ వార్షికోత్సవాన్ని పురస్కరించుకుని ప్రత్యేక కవర్ను ప్రధాని విడుదల చేశారు అలాగే ఎన్సీసీ స్మారక తపాలా బిళ్లను ప్రధాని ఆవిష్కరించారు ఎన్సీసీ కవాతు ఏక్ భారత్ శ్రేష్ఠ భారత్ స్ఫూర్తిని చాటి చెప్పిందని ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ పేర్కొన్నారు ఢిల్లీలోని కరియప్ప పరేడ్ మైదానంలో నిర్వహించిన ఎన్సీసీ 75వ వార్షికోత్సవంలో ప్రధాని మాట్లాడుతూ ఎన్సీసీ కవాతు నిర్వహించిన అధికారులు క్యాడెట్లకు అభినందనలు తెలిపారు 19 దేశాల నుంచి 190కు పైగా అధికారులు క్యాడెట్లు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొన్నారన్నారు అమృత్కాల్ ప్రతినిధులుగా యువత నిలిచారన్నారు రానున్న 25 సంవత్సరాలు అమృతకాలమన్నారు దేశ వికాసంలో ఎన్సీసీ క్యాడెట్ల పాత్ర కీలకమన్నారు ఎన్నో కిలోమీటర్ల నుంచి ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి వచ్చి ఐక్యతా స్ఫూర్తిని చాటి చెప్పారన్నారు ఇక్కడ సాంస్కృతిక ప్రదర్శనలు ఎంతగానో ఆకట్టుకున్నాయి అన్నారు
जिन लोगों ने एनसीसी का प्रतिनिधित्व किया है जो इसका हिस्सा रहे हैं मैं राष्ट्र निर्माण में उनके योगदान की सराहना करता हूं आज इस समय मेरे सामने जो कैडेट्स हैं जो इस समय एनसीसी में हैं वो तो और भी विशेष है, स्पेशल है। आज जिस प्रकार से कार्यक्रम की रचना हुई है, सिर्फ समय नहीं बदला है, स्वरूप भी बदला है। पहले की तुलना में दर्शक भी बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में है और कार्यक्रम की रचना भी विविधताओं से भरी हुई, लेकिन एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के मूल मंत्र को गुंजता हुआ हिंदुस्तान के कोने कोने में ले जाने वाला ये समारोह हमेशा हमेशा याद रहेगा। और इसलिए
ప్రపంచంలో అనేక నాగరికతలు కాలంతో పాటు అంతరించిపోయాయి అని, అయితే ఏ శక్తి కూడా భారతదేశాన్ని చిన్నాభిన్నం చేయలేదని ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ పేర్కొన్నారు. భారతదేశాన్ని భౌగోళికంగా, సాంస్కృతిక పరంగా, సామాజికంగా, సైద్ధాంతికంగా విచ్ఛిన్నం చేసేందుకు ఎన్నో ప్రయత్నాలు చేసినా అవి ఫలించలేదు అన్నారు. రాజస్థాన్లోని భిల్వారా జిల్లాలోని మలేసరి డూంగిరిలో జరిగిన భగవాన్ శ్రీ దేవనారాయణ్జీ 1111వ అవతార మహోత్సవంలో ప్రధాని పాల్గొన్నారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా మోదీ మాట్లాడుతూ సమాజంలో దురాచారాలను తొలగించి దేవనారాయణ్ సామరస్యతను చాటారు అన్నారు. గత 8-9 సంవత్సరాలుగా సమాజంలో అణగారిన అట్టడుగు వర్గాల అభ్యున్నతికి నిరంతరం కృషి చేస్తున్నామన్నారు. ప్రభుత్వం కృషి వల్లే సామాన్య ప్రజలకు విద్యుత్, నీరు, మంచి ఆరోగ్యం, గృహవసతి, బ్యాంకింగ్ సేవలు అందుబాటులోకి వచ్చాయన్నారు. వ్యవసాయానికి నీరు అందించడంతో పాటు పశుసంపదను కాపాడేందుకు ప్రభుత్వం కృషి చేస్తోందన్నారు. తొలిసారిగా పశువుల పెంపకందారులకు కూడా కిసాన్ క్రెడిట్ కార్డులు అందించామని ప్రధాని పేర్కొన్నారు.
मात्र 31 वर्ष की आयु बिताकर जनमानस में अमर हो जाना सर्वसिद्ध अवतार के लिए ही संभव है। भगवान देवनारायण ने जो रास्ता दिखाया है वो सबके साथ से सबके विकास का है। आज देश इसी रास्ते पर चल रहा है। भाग नहीं है, बल्कि हमारी सभ्यता की, संस्कृति की, सद्भावना की, संभावना की एक अभिव्यक्ति है। इसलिए आज भारत अपने वैभवशाली भविष्य की नींव रख रहा है और जानते हैं इसके पीछे सबसे बड़ी प्रेरणा, सबसे बड़ी शक्ति क्या है? किसकी शक्ति से, किसके आशीर्वाद से? भारत अटल है, अजर है, अमर है। ये शक्ति हमारे समाज की शक्ति है।
ఢిల్లీలోని రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్లో ఉద్యాన్ ఉత్సవ్ 2023ను రాష్ట్రపతి ద్రౌపది ముర్ము నేడు ప్రారంభించనున్నారు. ఆజాదీ కా అమృత్ మహోత్సవాల్లో భాగంగా రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్లోని ప్రపంచ ప్రఖ్యాత గార్డెన్ అమృత్ ఉద్యాన్ను తులిప్ పుష్పాలతో సందర్శకులకు కనువిందు చేయనుంది. బుధవారం నుంచి ఆదివారం వరకు వారానికి 5 రోజుల చొప్పున ఉదయం 10 గంటల నుంచి సాయంత్రం 4 గంటల వరకు సందర్శకులకు ఈ గార్డెన్ను రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్ను సందర్శించవచ్చు. ఈ అవకాశం మార్చి 26వ తేదీ వరకు మాత్రమే ఉంటుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఒక షార్ట్ బ్రేక్ తీసుకుందాం.
మావయ్య ఇవన్నీ
అవును, ఏళ్ల తరబడి ఊరికే పడున్న వస్తువుల్ని తీసి పారేయాలి.
ఇది కూడా తాతయ్య గారి పాత పాస్బుక్ ఇంకా ఎఫ్డి.
అరే, ఇది ఇలాగే ఉండిపోయింది.
డబ్బు పోయిందా?
లేదు, ఉపాయం ఉంది. బ్యాంక్ ఖాతాని నడిపిస్తూ ఉండాలి, లేకపోతే ఖాతా ఇనాపరేటివ్ అయిపోతుంది. అలాంటప్పుడు బ్యాంకుతో సంప్రదించి ఖాతాని క్రియాశీలంగా చేయించి ఉండిపోయిన మీ మొత్తాన్ని వడ్డీతో సహా క్లెయిమ్ చేసుకోండి.
ఇది
ఆర్బీఐ అంటుంది,
విషయాలు తెలుసుకోండి, జాగరూకంగా ఉండండి.
బాగా చెప్తున్నారు.
బ్యాక్ టు న్యూస్. చెన్నై నుంచి విజయవాడ మధ్య ఉన్న రైలు మార్గంలో విద్యుత్ సరఫరాలో తలెత్తిన లోపం వల్ల పలు రైళ్లు ఆలస్యంగా నడుస్తున్నాయి. చీరాల, వేటపాలెం రైల్వే స్టేషన్ల మధ్య గత రాత్రి 10 గంటల సమయంలో విద్యుత్ తీగలు తెగిపడటం వల్ల రైళ్లకు విద్యుత్ సరఫరా నిలిచిపోయింది. దీనివల్ల పలు రైళ్లను సమీపంలోని స్టేషన్లలో అధికారులు నిలిపివేశారు. విద్యుత్ సరఫరాలను పునరుద్ధరించేందుకు సిబ్బంది కృషి చేశారు. గంటల తరబడి రైళ్లు నిలిచిపోవడం వల్ల ప్రయాణికులు తీవ్ర ఇబ్బందులకు గురయ్యారు.
విజయనగరం నుంచి వస్తున్నాం సార్. విశాఖపట్నం టు ఒంగోలుకి తిరుపతి ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ ట్రైన్కి మేము బయలుదేరాం సార్, ఒంగోలు డిస్టిక్కి. అయితే పిల్లలు స్పోర్ట్స్ పర్సన్ చాలామంది ఉన్నారు. కరెక్ట్ ఈవెంట్కి మేము టోర్నమెంట్కి వస్తున్నాం సార్. అయితే ఏమైందంటే చీరల దగ్గర వేటపాలెం దగ్గర 4 hours వైర్లు తెగిపోవడం వల్ల 4 hours ట్రైన్ లేట్ అయింది సార్. మేము చాలా ఇబ్బందులు పడుతున్నాం సార్.
నేను తిరుపతి వెళ్ళాలి. 10:40 రావాల్సిన బండి 1:40 కూడా ఇందరూ రాలేదు. ఈ వైర్లు కేబుల్స్ తెగినాయి అన్నారు. ఇందరికి ఏం లేదు. 10:40 నుంచి
రాజకీయ పార్టీల బహిరంగ సభలకు సంబంధించి రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం తీసుకొచ్చిన జీవో నెంబర్ 1పై ఎవరూ ఆందోళన చెందాల్సిన అవసరం లేదని, జీవో వచ్చా కూడా బహిరంగ సభలకు ప్రదర్శనలకు అనుమతులు ఇచ్చామని రాష్ట్ర డీజీపీ రాజేంద్రనాథ్ రెడ్డి చెప్పారు. పశ్చిమ గోదావరి జిల్లా భీమవరంలో శాంతి భద్రతలు ఇతర అంశాలపై పోలీసు అధికారులతో శనివారం సమీక్షా సమావేశం నిర్వహించారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా డీజీపీ మాట్లాడుతూ ఎవరైనా పాదయాత్ర చేయాలంటే జిల్లా హెడ్ క్వార్టర్స్లో అనుమతి తీసుకోవాలన్నారు. రాష్ట్రంలో గంజాయి సాగు 25 ఏళ్ల పైబడి ఉందని, గత 2 ఏళ్ల నుంచి తోటలను నిర్మూలిస్తున్నామన్నారు. రహదారి ప్రమాదాలు గణనీయంగా తగ్గాయని, దిశ యాప్ వల్ల మంచి ఫలితాలు వస్తున్నాయని డీజీపీ వివరించారు.
We have destroyed 7,500 acres Ganza cultivation last year. This year మళ్ళీ 7,500 నుంచి ఈసారి కల్టివేషన్ జరగకుండా గవర్నమెంట్ని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసుకొని వాళ్ళతో గవర్నమెంట్ ద్వారా వాళ్ళకు సీడ్స్ ఆల్టర్నేటివ్ క్రాప్స్ కూడా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేశాం. దాని యొక్క ఇంపాక్ట్ వల్ల 7,500 నుంచి 600 to 700 acres పడిపోయింది గాంజా ఈసారి. దట్ వీ హెవ్ టేకన్ శాటిలైట్ ఇమేజెస్ ద్వారా కూడా మేము కన్ఫర్మ్ చేసాం. ఈ సంవత్సరాంతానికి ఇంకా కూడా బాగా తగ్గించడానికి చర్యలు తీసుకోవడానికి వీ హ్యాడ్ ఏ రివ్యూ. ఉమెన్ రిలేటెడ్ అఫెన్సెస్ పైన మోర్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్. ఓకే, ఏదైనా కూడా కంప్లైంట్ దిశ డౌన్లోడ్లో కానీ ఏదైనా కూడా కంప్లైంట్ దిశ యాప్లో ఏదైనా కంప్లైంట్ వస్తుంది ఇమ్మీడియట్గా యాక్షన్ తీసుకోమని వాళ్ళకు ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. ఇంకా జరిగిన లా అండ్ ఆర్డర్.
విజయవాడ బీజేపీ రాష్ట్ర కార్యాలయంలో శనివారం ఎస్సీ మోర్చా రాష్ట్ర కార్యవర్గ సమావేశం నిర్వహించారు. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పార్టీ రాష్ట్ర అధ్యక్షులు సోము వీర్రాజు, గుజరాత్ ఎమ్మెల్యే మరియు ఎస్సీ మోర్చా జాతీయ ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శి శంభునాథ్ తోండియా, రాష్ట్ర ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శి బిట్రా శివనారాయణ తదితరులు పాల్గొన్నారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా శంభునాథ్ తోండియా మాట్లాడుతూ సబ్ ప్లాన్ నిధుల కోసం ఎస్సీ మోర్చా గుంటూరులో ఆందోళన చేసి రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వంపై ఒత్తిడి పెంచామన్నారు. ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోదీ ప్రభుత్వం ఎస్సీలకు అనేక కార్యక్రమాలు అమలు చేస్తోందన్నారు. బాబాసాహెబ్ అంబేద్కర్ ఆశయాల సాధన దిశగా బీజేపీ పనిచేస్తోందని తెలిపారు. రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఎస్సీ సబ్ ప్లాన్ నిధులు దారి మళ్లిస్తే ఉద్యమం చేస్తామని హెచ్చరించారు.
एससी एसटी सब प्लान की उस राशि को उन्होंने डाइवर्ट करके दलितों एवं वनवासियों में न दे करके उनके साथ में बहुत ही बड़ा अन्याय किया है। और इसके उपलक्ष्य में पिछले महीने हम सब ने मिलकर के भारतीय जनता पार्टी अनुसूचित जाति मोर्चा के माध्यम से हमने यहाँ की जो विधान सभा है उसके सामने 48 आवर का धरना प्रदर्शन भी किया था। और उसी विषय को लेकर के आज की ये प्रदेश कार्य समिति है उसको हम लेने जा रहे हैं। इसमें पॉलिटिकल रिजोल्यूशन यही है कि एससी एसटी सब प्लान जो है करके संपादित करके वहाँ पूज्य डॉक्टर बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर जी की चैत्य भूमि का निर्माण हो रहा है। इस तरह है जन्मभूमि, शिक्षा भूमि, दीक्षा भूमि, महापरिनिर्वाण भूमि एवं चैत्य भूमि ऐसा करके
మాజీ మంత్రి వట్టి వసంత్ కుమార్ కన్నుమూశారు. ఆయన వయసు 70 సంవత్సరాలు. గత కొంతకాలంగా అనారోగ్య సమస్యలతో బాధపడుతున్న ఆయన ఈ తెల్లవారుజామున వైజాగ్లోని అపోలో ఆసుపత్రిలో చికిత్స పొందుతూ తుదిశ్వాస విడిచారు. వసంత్ కుమార్ స్వస్థలం పశ్చిమ గోదావరి జిల్లా పూండ్ల గ్రామం. ఆది నుంచి వసంత్ కుమార్ కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీలోనే కొనసాగారు. 2004-2009లో ఉంగుటూరు నుంచి కాంగ్రెస్ తరపున ఎమ్మెల్యేగా ఎన్నికయ్యారు. 2009లో వైఎస్ కేబినెట్లో గ్రామీణాభివృద్ధి శాఖ మంత్రిగా బాధ్యతలు నిర్వహించారు. ఆ తర్వాత రోసయ్య కేబినెట్లోనూ అదే శాఖ మంత్రిగా పనిచేశారు. మరోవైపు కిరణ్ కుమార్ రెడ్డి కేబినెట్లో పర్యాటక శాఖ మంత్రిగా విధులు నిర్వర్తించారు. 2014 నుంచి రాజకీయాలకు దూరంగా ఉన్న వసంత్ కుమార్ విశాఖలో కుటుంబంతో కలిసి నివాసం ఉంటున్నారు. మానవులకు అవసరమైన డి విటమిన్ కలిగిన పుట్టగొడుగులతో చేసిన వంటకాలను తీసుకోవడం ద్వారా విటమిన్ పొందవచ్చునని డాక్టర్ వైఎస్ఆర్ ఉద్యాన విశ్వవిద్యాలయ ఉపకులపతి తోలేటి జానకిరామ్ అన్నారు. పుట్టగొడుగుల దినోత్సవం సందర్భంగా పశ్చిమ గోదావరి జిల్లా వెంకటరామన్నగూడెంలో ఉపకులపతి దూరదర్శన్తో మాట్లాడుతూ సూర్యకిరణాలలో లభించే డి విటమిన్ ఒక్క పుట్టగొడుగుల్లో మాత్రమే లభిస్తుంది అన్నారు. విశ్వవిద్యాలయంలో ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లెర్నింగ్ ప్రోగ్రాం కింద పుట్టగొడుగుల కోర్సును నిర్వహిస్తున్నామన్నారు. మహిళా సాధికారతలో భాగంగా నిరుద్యోగ మహిళలకు పుట్టగొడుగుల పెంపకం, వంటకాలలో శిక్షణ ఇస్తున్నామన్నారు.
వెంకటరామన్నగూడెంలో మష్రూమ్ డే జరుపుకోవడం జరుగుతూ ఉంది. ఈ మష్రూమ్ డే ముఖ్య ఉద్దేశం ఏంటంటే మనము తినే ఆహారంలో ఈ డి విటమిన్ మాంసకృతులు కానీ చాలా మనకి ముఖ్యమైనవి. నార్మల్గా మనకి సూర్య కిరణాల నుంచి మనకి ఈ డి విటమిన్ లభించడం జరుగుతుంది. అయితే ఏ ఆహార పదార్థాలకు కూడా ఈ డి విటమిన్ లభించదు. ముఖ్యంగా మనకి ఈ డి విటమిన్ అనేది ఈ పుట్టగొడుగుల ద్వారానే మనము ఈ డి విటమిన్ని పొందవచ్చు. అదేవిధంగా ఈ మష్రూమ్స్ని కూడా ఒక ఆహార పదార్థంగా కూడా ఈ అవేర్నెస్ తీసుకురావాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని జరుపుకోవడం జరుగుతూ ఉంది. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో ముఖ్యంగా ఎక్స్పీరియన్షియల్ లెర్నింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ కింద డాక్టర్ వైఎస్ఆర్ ఉద్యాన విశ్వవిద్యాలయం విద్యార్థులు పండించిన పుట్టగొడుగులతో అనేక వాల్యూ యాడెడ్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ చేసి
శ్రీ పొట్టి శ్రీరాములు నెల్లూరు జిల్లా స్థాయి విద్యా వైజ్ఞానిక ప్రదర్శనను రాష్ట్ర వ్యవసాయ శాఖ మంత్రి కాకాణి గోవర్ధన్ రెడ్డి దర్గామిట్ట పాఠశాలలో నిన్న ప్రారంభించారు. సర్వశిక్ష అభియాన్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో 2 రోజుల పాటు పలు ప్రదర్శనలు, విద్యార్థులకు ప్రయోగాత్మక వివరణ ఇవ్వనున్నారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా మంత్రి మాట్లాడుతూ ప్రయోగాత్మక వివరాలతో కూడిన బోధన కీలకమన్నారు. బాలమేధావులు వైజ్ఞానిక ప్రదర్శనల్లో పోటీతత్వాన్ని చూపడం మంచి పరిణామన్నారు. విద్యార్థులు చదువు పట్ల ఒత్తిడిని అధిగమించి మంచి ఫలితాలను సాధించేందుకు ప్రయోగాత్మక ప్రదర్శనలు దోహదపడతాయన్నారు.
పిల్లలందరూ కూడా వీక్షించేందుకు అన్ని రకాలైనటువంటి చర్యలు తీసుకోవడం జరిగింది. రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రిగా జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి గారు విద్యారంగం పట్ల అమితమైనటువంటి ఆసక్తిని కనపరుస్తున్నారు. నిన్నడు ఊహించినటువంటి విధంగా నాడు నేడు ద్వారా స్కూళ్ల రూపురేఖలు మారిపోయాయి. మౌలిక సదుపాయాలు అన్నీ కూడా ఈరోజు రూపకల్పన చేసుకోగలిగాం. పిల్లలకు సంబంధించి అన్నీ ఎప్పుడు ఊహించలేదు. పిల్లలకు సంబంధించినటువంటి ట్యాబుల పంపిణీ కానీ, పిల్లలకు సంబంధించినటువంటి విద్యా దీవెన, వసతి దీవెన, ఈరోజు అదేవిధంగా అమ్మఒడి లాంటి కార్యక్రమాలు, ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఏ రోజు ఊహించినటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలు ఈరోజు అమలవుతున్నాయి. ఈరోజు రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం అనుసరిస్తున్నటువంటి నాడు నేడు లాంటి కార్యక్రమాలు భారతదేశానికి ఆదర్శంగా నిలుస్తున్నాయి. అటువంటి పరిస్థితుల్లో పిల్లలు మరింత అభివృద్ధి చెందడానికి ఎక్స్ట్రా కరికులర్ యాక్టివిటీస్, విద్యా వ్యవస్థతో పాటు ఇతరత్ర కూడా అన్ని విద్యాశాఖ దాని మీద
ప్రభుత్వ ఉద్యోగుల పదవీ విరమణ వయస్సును 60 నుంచి 62 సంవత్సరాలకు పెంచుతూ ప్రభుత్వం జీవో తీసుకొచ్చినట్లు జరుగుతున్న ప్రచారంలో వాస్తవం లేదని రాష్ట్ర ఆర్థిక శాఖ స్పష్టం చేసింది. 65 సంవత్సరాలకు పెంచారని తప్పుగా ఎడిట్ చేసి సామాజిక మాధ్యమాల్లో అసత్యాలను ప్రచారం చేస్తున్నారని, ఈ వార్త పూర్తిగా అవాస్తవమని ప్రకటించింది. ప్రభుత్వంపై ఇలాంటి అసత్య వార్తలు ప్రచారం చేస్తే వారిపై కఠిన చర్యలు తప్పవని ఆర్థిక శాఖ హెచ్చరించింది. రాష్ట్రంలో జర్నలిస్టుల సంక్షేమం కోసం ప్రభుత్వం కట్టుబడి ఉందని రాష్ట్ర ప్రెస్ అకాడమీ చైర్మన్ కొమ్మినేని శ్రీనివాసరావు తెలిపారు. ఉమ్మడి ప్రకాశం జిల్లా వేటపాలెంలోని సారస్వత నికేతనాన్ని శనివారం ఆయన సందర్శించారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా కొమ్మినేని మీడియాతో మాట్లాడుతూ జర్నలిస్టులకు ఇళ్ల పట్టాల పంపిణీ అంశం ప్రభుత్వ పరిశీలనలో ఉందని, ఇన్సూరెన్స్ సౌకర్యం కల్పించనున్నట్లు తెలిపారు. పరిశోధకులకు కేర్ ఆఫ్ అడ్రస్గా వేటపాలెం లైబ్రరీ నిలిచిందని, 100 ఏళ్ల చరిత్ర ఉన్న ఈ లైబ్రరీని సందర్శించడం ఆనందంగా ఉందన్నారు. భావితరాల భవిష్యత్తు కోసం గ్రంథాలయాలు చాలా అవసరమని, వేటపాలెం లైబ్రరీ అభివృద్ధి కోసం ముఖ్యమంత్రి వైఎస్ఆర్ లైఫ్ టైం అవార్డు కింద 10 లక్షల రూపాయలు ఇచ్చారు అన్నారు.
విషయం నిజానికి ఇటీవలి కాలంలో గ్రంథాలయాలకు వెళ్ళటం కానీ చదవటం కానీ తక్కువ అవుతున్నప్పటికి కూడా వేటపాలెం గ్రంథాలయ నిర్వాహకులు చాలా గొప్పగా విశిష్ట కృషి చేస్తూ పరిశోధకులకి ఇదొక కొమ్మపొట్టుగా మార్చారు. పాత కాలపు ఆంధ్రపత్రిక కానీ, ఆంధ్రప్రభ కానీ, జనపత్రికలు కానీ ఇవన్నిటినీ కూడా చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా ప్రిజర్వ్ చేస్తున్నారు, కాపాడుతున్నారు. ఇవి భవిష్యత్ తరాలకి.
మరొక షార్ట్ బ్రేక్ తీసుకుందాం.
మీ బ్యాంకు చెల్లింపులు అన్ని ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్, మొబైల్ బ్యాంకింగ్, యూపీఐ, భీమ్ యాప్ ద్వారా చెల్లించండి. అంతేకాదు మీ లావాదేవీలను మీ సురక్షిత కంప్యూటర్ నుండి గానీ, మొబైల్ నుండి గానీ మాత్రమే చేయండి. ఎల్లప్పుడూ డిజిటల్ సురక్షిత లావాదేవీలను చేయండి. అజ్ఞాత వ్యక్తుల నుండి మీ మొబైల్లో వచ్చే ఆర్థిక లావాదేవీలకు సంబంధించిన ఎటువంటి సూచనలకు మీరు స్పందించకండి. జారీ చేయవారు నాబార్డు ప్రాంతీయ కార్యాలయం, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్.
బ్యాక్ టు న్యూస్. రథసప్తమిని పురస్కరించుకుని నెల్లూరులోని పురాతన ఆలయాలు తలపగిరి, రంగనాథ క్షేత్రం, శ్రీకృష్ణ ఆలయాల్లో పొద్దస్తమానం సేవలుగా సప్తవాహనోత్సవాలను నిర్వహించారు. మూల స్థానేశ్వర ఆలయంలోని సూర్య భగవానుని ఆలయంలో ప్రాధాన్య అభిషేకాలను దేవాదాయ శాఖ ఆధ్వర్యంలో నిర్వహించారు. తలపగిరి రంగనాథ ఆలయంలో సప్తవాహనోత్సవాలను ఉదయం నుంచి రాత్రి వరకు నిర్వహించారు. ఈ పూజా కార్యక్రమాల్లో భక్తులు పెద్ద సంఖ్యలో పాల్గొన్నారు. కాకినాడ జిల్లా పెదపూడి మండలం గొల్లల మామిడాడ గ్రామంలోని శ్రీ సూర్యనారాయణమూర్తి జయంతి రథసప్తమి వేడుకలు ఘనంగా జరిగాయి. వేద పండితులు ప్రత్యేక పూజలు నిర్వహించారు. రాష్ట్రం నలుమూలల నుండి భక్తులు వేల సంఖ్యలో తరలివచ్చి స్వామివారిని దర్శించుకుని మొక్కులు చెల్లించుకున్నారు. దేవేరులు ఉషాపద్మిని ఛాయ సమేత ఉత్సవమూర్తులతో కలిసి సూర్య భగవానునికి పల్లకి సేవ నిర్వహించారు. ఆలయం చుట్టూ ప్రదక్షిణలు చేయించారు. అత్యంత వైభవంగా రథోత్సవ కార్యక్రమాన్ని నిర్వహించినట్లు ఆలయ అర్చకులు రేజేటి వెంకట నరసింహాచార్యులు తెలిపారు.
రవివారికి విశేష అభిషేక అనంతరం స్వామివారికి అలంకరణ, ప్రత్యేక ఆరాధనలు జరిగాయి. అనంతరం శ్రీవారిని ఈరోజు ఉదయం 12:30 రథం మీద వేయించడం జరిగింది. 1:30 శ్రీవారి రథయాత్ర అత్యంత వైభవంగా నిర్వహించడం జరిగింది. ఈ ఉత్సవాలు
2027 నాటికి భారతదేశాన్ని ప్రపంచంలోనే అగ్రగామి దేశంగా తీర్చిదిద్దేందుకు యువత కృషి చేయాలని కేంద్ర హోంమంత్రి అమిత్ షా పిలుపునిచ్చారు. హుబ్లీలోని బివి భూమారెడ్డి కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ ప్లాటినం జూబ్లీ వేడుకల్లో హోంమంత్రి నిన్న పాల్గొన్నారు. ఈ సందర్భంగా ఆయన మాట్లాడుతూ భారతదేశాన్ని అగ్రస్థానంలో చూడాలని ప్రధాని నరేంద్ర మోదీ కలలు కంటున్నారని, దీనిని సాధించేందుకు బలమైన పునాది వేస్తున్నారు అన్నారు. దేశాభివృద్ధిలో యువత భాగస్వామ్యులు కావాలన్నారు. భారత్ నేడు ప్రపంచంలోనే 5వ అతిపెద్ద ఆర్థిక వ్యవస్థగా ఎదిగిందన్నారు. 2025 నాటికి భారత్ $5 ట్రిలియన్ ఆర్థిక వ్యవస్థగా ఎదగాలన్నారు. 2014లో కేవలం 3 యూనికార్న్స్తో 70,000 స్టార్టప్లను ప్రారంభించిన దేశం నేటికి 75 యూనికార్న్స్ సంఖ్యను దాటిందన్నారు.
मित्रों, मेरा आपसे भी आग्रह है, आप आजादी के 90 साल के कालखंड को जरूर पढ़िएगा. लाखों लाखों लोगों ने अपने जीवन का सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया है, तब जाकर
భారత వాయుసేనకు చెందిన 2 యుద్ధ విమానాలు ప్రమాదానికి గురయ్యాయి. రోజువారీ శిక్షణలో భాగంగా మధ్యప్రదేశ్లోని గ్వాలియర్ ఎయిర్ బేస్ నుంచి నిన్న గాల్లోకి ఎగిరిన సుఖోయ్ 30 మిరాజ్ 2000 విమానాలు కాసేపటికే మొరేనా ప్రాంతంలో కూలిపోయినట్లు రక్షణ శాఖ వర్గాలు వెల్లడించాయి. సమాచారం అందుకున్న పోలీసు, రెస్క్యూ సిబ్బంది ఘటనా స్థలానికి చేరుకుని సహాయక చర్యలు చేపట్టారు. అటు రాజస్థాన్లోని భరతపూర్లోని వాయుసేనకు చెందిన మరో యుద్ధ విమానం ప్రమాదానికి గురైనట్లు రక్షణ వర్గాలు వెల్లడించాయి. ఇక్కడ కూడా సహాయక చర్యలు కొనసాగుతున్నాయి. ఈ ఘటనలో 3 పైలట్లు గాయపడగా 1 మరణించినట్లు భారత వైమానిక దళం ప్రకటించింది. ఈ సందర్భంగా మొరేనా ఎస్పీ అశుతోష్ భాగరి మాట్లాడుతూ ఈ ఘటన ఎంతో దురదృష్టకరమన్నారు. అయితే ఇందుకు సంబంధించిన ఫోటోలను సోషల్ మీడియాలో వ్యాప్తి చేయొద్దని కోరారు. వారు దేశానికి కాబోయే పోరాట యోధులని, అలాంటి వారిపై సోషల్ మీడియాలో ప్రచారం సరికాదని, వెంటనే ఇందుకు సంబంధించిన ఫోటోలను తొలగించాలని కోరారు. ఆస్ట్రేలియా ఓపెన్ 2023 మహిళల గ్రాండ్ స్లామ్ విజేతగా బెలారస్కు చెందిన వరల్డ్ నెంబర్ 2వ ర్యాంకర్ అరికా సబలెంకా నిలిచింది. కజకిస్తాన్కు చెందిన 10వ ర్యాంకర్ రిబాకినాతో జరిగిన ఫైనల్లో సబలెంకా 4-6, 6-3, 6-4 తేడాతో గెలిచి ఛాంపియన్గా నిలిచింది. సబలెంకాకు ఇది తొలి గ్రాండ్ స్లామ్ కావడం విశేషం. ఇక న్యూజిలాండ్తో 3 మ్యాచ్ల టీ20 సిరీస్లో భారత్ కీలక పోరుకు సిద్ధమైంది. రాంచీలో తొలి మ్యాచ్ చేజార్చుకున్న టీమిండియా నేడు లక్నో వేదికగా జరిగే 2వ మ్యాచ్లో గెలిస్తేనే నిలిచే పరిస్థితి కొని తెచ్చుకుంది. శుభ్మన్ గిల్ గత మ్యాచ్లో విఫలం కాగా, ఇషాన్ కిషన్ అటు వన్డే ఇటు టీ20లో తీవ్రంగా నిరుత్సాహపరుస్తున్నాడు. ఇటీవల దీపక్ హుడాకు టీం మేనేజ్మెంట్ చెప్పుకోదగ్గ అవకాశాలు ఇస్తున్నా తను మాత్రం సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవడం లేదు. బౌలింగ్లో ఉమ్రాన్ మాలిక్ పేస్తో పాటు వైవిధ్యం కనపరచాలి. సుందర్తో పాటు కుల్దీప్ కూడా స్పిన్తో కట్టడి చేస్తే భారత్కు ఏ ఇబ్బంది ఉండదు. తొలి మ్యాచ్లో ఓడినా నేడు తుది జట్టులో మార్పులేమీ ఉండకపోవచ్చు. సాయంత్రం 7 గంటలకు జరిగే మ్యాచ్లో గెలిచి సిరీస్ను సమం చేయాలని భారత్ చూస్తుంటే మరో మ్యాచ్ మిగులుండగానే సిరీస్ దక్కించుకోవాలని న్యూజిలాండ్ పట్టుదలతో ఉంది. ఈ నేపథ్యంలో రెండు జట్ల మధ్య రసవత్ర పోరు జరిగే అవకాశం ఉంది. ఈ వార్తలు ఇంతటితో సమాప్తం. నమస్కారం.
ఆలోచించండి, నిజ జీవితంలో ఇలాంటి పరిస్థితి వస్తే ఎన్ని కష్టాలు వస్తాయో. కానీ మంచిదైంది బ్యాంకింగ్కి రావు. మీ వయసు 70 ఏళ్లు మించినా లేదా మీరు వికలాంగులైనా బ్యాంక్ మీకు కొన్ని అవసరమైన బ్యాంకింగ్ సౌకర్యాలు ఇంటికే అందించగలదు. ఆర్బీఐ అంటుంది,
Africa has been the destination of the Chinese foreign minister's first overseas tour of the calendar year for many decades. In January this year, China's foreign minister Qin Gang concluded a 5-country tour of Africa, traveling to Ethiopia, Angola, Benin, Gabon, and Egypt. China allegedly practices debt trap diplomacy in that it deliberately lends to countries that it knows cannot repay the money and thereby increasing its political leverage. A December 2022 report by the London-based Chatham House said that at present 22 low-income African countries are either already in debt distress or at high risk of debt distress. Chinese lenders account for 12% of Africa's private and public external debt, which increased more than 5-fold to nearly $700 billion from 2000 to 2020. US Ambassador to the United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield said during an August 2022 visit to Ghana that for too long the wealthy and powerful have extracted Africa's natural resources for their own gain, and it continues today through bad deals and debt traps. In an oblique reference to China, the Chinese debt trap diplomacy is as true for Asia as it is for Africa. Sri Lanka is a case in point. Sri Lanka owed Chinese lenders $7.4 billion on nearly a fifth of its public external debt by the end of last year. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now, news from Oceania. Chris Hipkins has been sworn in as New Zealand's 41st Prime Minister. 44-year-old was formally appointed to the role in Wellington a week after Jacinda Ardern's shock resignation. Hipkins built a reputation as a minister who led New Zealand's COVID-19 strategy. At the ruling Labour Party's caucus over the weekend, Hipkins received unanimous support to be promoted to lead the country and now faces an uphill task of retaining power in the upcoming general elections later in October.
New Zealanders get new Prime Minister. Jacinda Ardern's successor Chris Hipkins was sworn in as the New Zealand Prime Minister. He told reporters that the cost of living will be his government's #1 priority.
At Cabinet, I reiterated my expectation that the reprioritisation work that I have signalled will be our absolute priority over the coming weeks. Today that work started in earnest and we had a good discussion about the next steps that we'll be taking to reprioritise, refresh and refocus the government's work programme so that we can move our resources where we need to address the bread and butter issues that New Zealanders are most concerned about.
He has made it clear that he is against announcing new policies immediately.
Yeah, and the numbers that we've seen today, I think, underline the importance of the commitment that I have made over the last few days to place the cost of living and the economic situation that we face as our #1 priority as a government. Now, I've only been here for a couple of hours. Now I need to work through the options about what we do about that with my ministerial colleagues, and I will do that, and we will be making haste. But I'm not going to be so hasty as to make things up on the fly.
First elected to Parliament for the Labour Party in 2008, the 44-year-old Hipkins became a household name when he fronted the government's response to the pandemic after being appointed Minister for COVID-19 in November 2020. Hipkins was Minister for Police, Education and Public Service, as well as Leader of the House. With agency inputs, Global Scan Desk, DD India.
Earlier, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern bid an emotional farewell at her last political engagement as New Zealand's Prime Minister. She said she was ready to be a backbench MP, a sister and a mother.
New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Tuesday bid an emotional farewell as she took part in her last political engagement as New Zealand's Prime Minister and said she was ready to be a backbench MP, a sister and a mother.
It also feels special and symbolic to be here at Ratana and for this to be officially my last event as the Prime Minister of New Zealand. And special for a couple of reasons. Firstly, if you're going to leave, I say leave with a brass band. For my part, I want you to know that my overwhelming experience in this job of New Zealand and New Zealanders has been one of love, empathy and kindness.
I'm ready to be lots of things. I'm ready to be a backbench MP. I'm ready to be a sister and a mum.
New Zealand's ruling Labour Party selected Chris Hipkins to replace Jacinda Ardern as its leader and the 41st Prime Minister of the country. 44-year-old Hipkins was the only nomination for the job, and his confirmation in a party meeting on Sunday, known as the Labour Caucus, was largely a formality. Hipkins named Carmel Sepuloni as Deputy Prime Minister. New Zealand's first Deputy Prime Minister of Pacific origin, 46-year-old Sepuloni is of Samoan, Tongan and New Zealand European descent and lives in Auckland. She holds a number of portfolios including social development and employment and arts, culture and heritage. With agency inputs, DD India.
And now, news from Americas. Let's talk about Peru. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Peru's capital and were met with volleys of tear gas and pellets amid clashes with security forces just hours after President Dina Boluarte called for a truce in almost 2 months of protest. The crisis that has sparked Peru's worst political violence in more than 2 decades began when former President Pedro Castillo was impeached and imprisoned over corruption charges, and Boluarte, who was his vice president, was sworn in.
The political crisis in Peru is far from over. Road blockades and clashes with security forces have ravaged the Andean country since December, leaving a death toll of over 40 and over $1,300 million in damages. President Dina Boluarte informed on Tuesday. Violence once again erupted on Tuesday in an anti-government protest nearby the Congress, 6 days after the Takeover Lima March took place in the capital city. Clashes flared when a group of protesters stormed a street blocked by fences and a wall of riot police agents who fired at the mass and threw tear gas canisters to disperse the crowd. Peruvian President Dina Boluarte said in a televised conference that deadly protests have resulted in 2 billion souls, $515.61 million in production damages, and 3 billion souls, $773.42 million in infrastructure damages.
In that region, and since December up till now, the strikes, the destruction that is taking place has caused approximately 2,000 million souls in production and approximately 3,000 million souls in infrastructure damages. This isn't a pacific protest. This is a violent action by a group of radical people with a political and economic agenda.
The leader called the nation for a truce to set up peace dialogues and the actors involved in the political turmoil.
Since the first minute after I took office, we called for a truce with the Congress. Now I call my dear homeland for the national truce to set up a dialogue.
Protesters demand the resignation of the current president, Dina Boluarte, the closure of Congress, changes to the constitution and Castillo's release. Castillo is serving 18 months pre-trial detention while he's investigated for rebellion, a charge the former president denies. He was ousted after he tried to dissolve the Congress and reorganize the judiciary. Boluarte, a former vice president who assumed power shortly after Castillo's removal, has proposed bringing forward the next general election. With agency inputs, Global Scan Desk, DD India.
There have been more mass shootings in the United States. In the latest one, at least 11 people were killed and many injured in separate shooting incidents reported in 3 American cities on Tuesday. The mass shooting joins a staggering list of 38 others from just the first 3 weeks of this year.
Mass shootings are recurrent in the United States just 2 days after mass shooting in Monterey Park. Another mass shooting reported from 2 locations. 7 people were killed in a mass shooting at 2 locations in the coastal northern Californian city of Half Moon Bay on Monday. Half Moon Bay is about 30 miles, that is 50 kilometers south of San Francisco. Deputies responding to a call found 4 people dead and a 5th victim wounded at the first location in Half Moon Bay, then found 3 more dead at another place nearby.
The suspect was not immediately located. Shortly thereafter, 3 additional victims were also located deceased with gunshot wounds at a separate shooting scene in the 2100 block of Cabrillo Highway South. The motive for the shooting is currently unknown. Through investigation, the suspect, identified as Chung Lee Zhao, a 67-year-old Half Moon Bay resident. At 4:40 p.m., Zhao was located in his vehicle in the parking lot of the sheriff's substation here in Half Moon Bay by a sheriff's deputy. Zhao was taken into custody without incident and a semi-automatic handgun was located in his vehicle. Zhao is believed to have acted alone and there is no further threat to this community.
The latest mass shooting took place just 2 days after another in which 11 people were killed in the city of Monterey Park in Los Angeles County, about 400 miles to the south. Some 200 residents of Monterey Park, a hub of the Asian American community just east of downtown Los Angeles, gathered on Monday night for a candlelight vigil to mourn that victims of a shooting at a local dance hall that left 11 dead over the weekend.
Coming to college here, Monterey Park's been huge for me my entire life, so kind of live in a neighboring city. But yeah, this is just a really sad tragedy. You don't expect that from a small, quiet town like this, and I don't know, just kind of a loss for words.
I feel so sad because we live here. We live we're gonna be like a year. We moved here, and everything is good, quiet, and nothing happened. Yeah, when that happened, I'm working, so I'm worried about my family, and I'm so sad for the people who die, and what can I say? Everybody's sad and thinking about why that happened.
United States Vice President Kamala Harris condemned the shootings. She earlier said senseless gun violence in the country must stop.
All of us in this room and in our country understand this violence must stop. And President Biden and I and our administration will continue to provide full support to the local authorities as we learn more.
The shooting in California is taking place at a time when California has some of the strictest laws when it comes to firearms. There are mandatory waiting periods and background checks for firearm purchases in the state. The state also bans so-called military-style assault weapons, and in 2016, it became one of the first states to pass a red flag law which permits authorities to remove firearms from someone believed to be a danger to themselves or others. With agency inputs, DD India.
In another incident of shooting in the United States, a gunman who killed 3 people in what US police said was a random attack telephoned his mother and then shot himself dead in the state of Washington. That dismaying episode came on the heels of 2 mass shootings in California that have left 18 people dead as the United States again grapples with horror of spiraling gun violence. Police in Yakima say a man they earlier named as 21-year-old local Jared Haddock shot people in and around a convenience store overnight before fleeing. Officers launched an extensive manhunt throughout the city, which sits 160 kilometers southeast of Seattle, warning that the wanted man was armed and dangerous. Hours later, police received a 911 emergency call from a woman who said the wanted man had borrowed her phone. First responders raced to the scene near a supermarket, arriving in time to hear gunshots as he killed himself. The US Justice Department sued Google for its dominance of the online advertising market, launching a fresh battle against the California-based tech giant. Tuesday's lawsuit by the administration of President Joe Biden, a Democrat, follows a 2020 antitrust lawsuit brought against Google during the term of former President Donald Trump, a Republican.
It's a major setback for Google. The United States Justice Department sued Alphabet's Google on Tuesday over digital advertising dominance. It said that Google should be forced to sell its ad manager suite in the government's latest jab at thwarting big tech's market power. The lawsuit tackles a business at Google that is responsible for 80% of its revenue. The Justice Department asked the court to compel Google to break up its ad technology business.
Today, the Department of Justice, joined by 8 states, filed a civil antitrust lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia against Google. We alleged that Google has used anti-competitive, exclusionary, and unlawful conduct to eliminate or severely diminish any threat to its dominance over digital advertising technologies. As alleged in our complaint, for 15 years, Google has pursued a course of anti-competitive conduct that has allowed it to halt the rise of rival technologies, manipulate auction mechanics to insulate itself from competition, and force advertisers and publishers to use its tools. In so doing, Google has engaged in exclusionary conduct to severely weaken, if not destroy, competition in the ad tech industry. As detailed in our complaint, we allege that Google's anti-competitive conduct extends to 3 significant elements of the digital ad buying process.
Tuesday's lawsuit by the administration of President Joe Biden, a Democrat, follows a 2020 antitrust lawsuit brought against Google during the term of Donald Trump, a Republican. The 2020 lawsuit alleged violations of antitrust law in how the company acquires or maintains its dominance with its monopoly in online search and is scheduled to go to trial in September.
Our complaint alleges that Google has violated Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act by monopolizing the market for the technology used by publishers to offer ads on their websites, monopolizing or attempting to monopolize the ad exchange market, and monopolizing the market for the ad network technology that advertisers use to buy digital advertising space. Our complaint also alleges that Google has unlawfully tied its ad exchange and its publisher ad server in violations of Section 1 and 2 of the Sherman Act. And finally,
Google's anti-competitive behavior has resulted in lower ad revenues for websites and publishers, as well as higher advertising costs. Google makes revenue through its interlocking ad tech businesses which connect advertisers with newspapers, websites and other firms looking to host them. Advertisers and website publishers have complained that Google has not been transparent about where ad dollars go, specifically how much goes to publishers and how much goes to Google. DD, India.
President Lula da Silva of Brazil is working with his Argentinian counterpart to create greater economic integration. They are hoping to increase trade between the two countries with the help of a common currency. The move is expected to boost regional engagement and reduce reliance on the US dollar.
Brazil and Argentina is all set to announce a common currency. The move may eventually create the world's second largest currency bloc. Brazil and Argentina are in the early talks to establish a shared unit of value for the bilateral trade to reduce reliance on the US dollar. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said on Monday, though the move is not aimed at replacing existing currencies.
What we are trying to work on right now is to have our finance ministers, each with their economy teams and with lot of debate and meetings, float a foreign trade and transaction float between the two countries with a common currency.
This was Lula's first international visit in Buenos Aires since taking office for the second time. He made the comments alongside Argentine President Alberto Fernandez, a leftist ally who said there was little decided about what would be involved in such a proposal.
To find an economic and commercial instrument to deepen the commercial system between both countries and within the region, Mercosur, but that reflects each country's gross domestic product in terms of participation and currencies. And this doesn't mean giving up on each country's currencies.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said that his country supports the creation of a common currency for South America.
I announce that Venezuela is ready and we support the initiative to create a Latin American and Caribbean currency, independence, union and liberation of Latin America and the Caribbean.
The move is aimed at boosting trade within the Mercosur bloc, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay and Venezuela, and reducing reliance on the US dollar. With agency inputs, DD India.
And time now for History of the Week.
It was on 23rd of January in the year 1897 when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, an Indian nationalist, was born in Cuttack, Odisha. He founded the Indian National Army to overthrow the British Empire and came to acquire legendary status among Indian masses. On 23rd of January in the year 1737, John Hancock, an American founding father, merchant, statesman and prominent patriot of the American Revolution, was born. On 23rd of January in the year 2006, Evo Morales, a Bolivian politician, trade union organizer and former cocalero, became the first indigenous president of Bolivia. On 24th of January in the year 1924, C.B. Muthamma, India's first woman diplomat and first woman ambassador, was born in Virajpat, Karnataka. She was also the first woman to join the Indian Foreign Service. On the same day in the year 1966, the father of the Indian nuclear program, Adams Prize and Padma Bhushan laureate, Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, passed away. On 25th of January in the year 1980, an Indian Albanian Catholic nun, Mother Teresa, was honored by the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna. She devoted her life to serving the poor and destitute around the world. In 1979, Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize Award and has become a symbol of charitable, selfless work. It was on 25th of January in the year 1950, the Election Commission of India was established by the Constitution of India to conduct and regulate elections in the country under Article number 324 of the Constitution of India. It was on January 26 in 1950, the Constitution came into effect, making India a republic. The Constitution provides for a parliamentary form of government which is federal in structure with certain unitary features. The constitutional head of the executive of the Union is the President. On January 26 in the year 1965, Hindi became the official language of India. The Constitution of India provides for the use of Hindi in the Devanagari script as the official language of the Union. According to Article number 343, the official language of the Union shall be Hindi in the Devanagari script. On 27th of January in the year 1921, the Imperial Bank of India, which became the State Bank of India after independence, came into existence. The Imperial Bank was formed as a joint stock bank in January 1921 by amalgamating the Presidency Banks of Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Global Scan Desk, DD India.
Some stories now from a more intimate world around us. Stories beyond headlines.
A spectacular firework and drone light show wowed residents in southwest China's Chongqing municipality, lighting up the night sky on the eve of the Chinese New Year. The spring festival known as the Chinese New Year fell on the 22nd of January this year. This year is a year of the rabbit on the Chinese lunar calendar of 12 zodiac animals. More than 200 different types of fireworks launched from barges on the Yangtze and Jialing rivers soared up to 250 meters into the air before exploding in the shapes of auspicious springtime blooms like camellias and peonies. The owner of the elephant camp on Thai Paradise Island, Phuket, welcomed Chinese tourists with the purchase of brand new elephants. Ingfa, a young female elephant, was recently purchased among 6 elephants that had been bought by the Pangchang Kamala Elephant Camp, situated on a hill with a view of the ocean, in preparation for an influx of tourists. The camp provides various activities from elephant rides and elephant shows to an all-terrain vehicle ride. After being cancelled for 2 years owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Well-Wishing Festival in Tai Po made its comeback this year in celebration of the Year of the Rabbit. Large crowds made their pilgrimage to the festival's popular wishing tree, where many asked for a swift end to the pandemic and a return to normalcy. Flashes of orange zipping across the air, that was the common sight at Tai Po's Lam Suan village this morning, where visitors participated in a local Lunar New Year custom of throwing their wishes at the wishing tree. The grown-up adult friars turned into little kids as they get engaged in a playful snowball fight after the snow filled the courtyard of the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. These grown-ups were seen enjoying their hearts out, throwing balls of snow at each other and laying on the snow bed, making snow fairies on it. Assisi is known for the beauty of its basilica, a place of pilgrimage not only for the faithful but also for artists and art history students. Heavy snowfall hit the Italian central Apennine areas over the weekend, creating picturesque landscapes but also causing inconvenience to the population with blocked roads and closed schools. After months of drought, a snowstorm brings joy to Algerian families who rushed to Kria mountains to enjoy the snow. The snowstorm hit northern Algerian town Kria on Tuesday. Snow accumulated on the ground, trees and roads amid heavy snowfall. People were seen sliding on sledges, taking pictures and enjoying the snow with their families. People ranging from toddlers to adults were seen enjoying and playing in the snow. Global Scan Desk, DD India.
As we conclude this edition of Global Scan, we're leaving you with images that stayed in news this week. I'll take your leave. Namaskar.
डिजिटल बैंकिंग का है जमाना, टाइम है बचाना। डिजिटल बैंकिंग है आसान, करो चाहे कोई भुगतान, एनी टाइम एनीवेयर, सेफ है, फास्ट है, हर पेमेंट उंगलियों पे सेट है। लेन देन के हैं ऑप्शंस कई, IMPS, NEFT, UPI भी। 24 घंटे करते ये काम, पेमेंट आसान और रहे आराम। RBI कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
सांसों में छिपा है ये, पुरखों की कृपा है ये, दिखलाएगा रास्ता। अथ योगानुशासनम्, अथ योगानुशासनम्। दुनिया में प्रसिद्ध जो, अपने आप सिद्ध जो, रखना इस पे आस था। अथ योगानुशासनम्, अथ योगानुशासनम्। योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो।
विश्व को भेंट दी हमने योग है। योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो।
जो सुलझा दे जीवन को वो योग है।
जो सुलझा दे जीवन को वो योग है।
अथ योगानुशासनम्, अथ योगानुशासनम्। बुद्धियुक्तो जहाति उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते, तस्मात् योगाय युज्यस्व। योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्, योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्। अथ योगानुशासनम्, अथ योगानुशासनम्। भारत ने ही योग सिखाया, जग में फैलाया।
विश्व ने अपनाया, नियंत्रण आया रोग पे।
विश्व ने जैसे है पाया जो अधिकार ये, अब आरोग्य पे है सब हो पाया योग से। सदियों से रहा है ये, सब ही ने कहा है ये।
हरदम देगा आसरा।
अथ योगानुशासनम्, अथ योगानुशासनम्। योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो।
ये शरीर और मन का संजोग है।
योगारंभ हो, योगारंभ हो। जो सुलझा दे जीवन को वो योग है। जो सुलझा दे जीवन को वो योग है। योगारंभ हो, आरंभ हो, योगारंभ हो।
राष्ट्रीय बाल पुरस्कार. Young innovators take center stage. Meet the change makers.
Since I really love to study about animals, especially reptiles, and I also wanted to spread that information around so that other people could enjoy the wonders of science.
Kavach is a bullying reporting mobile app through which victims and bystanders and parents can report bullying.
We need more researchers from a younger age, that is in high school, because that is when your curiosity is at its peak.
If children are future of the nation, our change makers assure us that we are in safe hands.
Do you think the politician's stereotypical perception has changed in this journey of yours?
Definitely, what was earlier and now what is today has a vast difference. Even if you see the education profile, the social background and many other things in Parliament, where there are more than 900 members, many are on their own, without family background, without muscle power, without money power, without caste benefit also. But if you have a passion, if you have determination, discipline, dedication, and if you are ready to improve yourself every day.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Hello and welcome to Sports 360 Degree, your weekend window that brings you a roundup of all that buzz in the world of sports across the week. Today, in the next half an hour, we will bring you all the updates and analysis from the world of cricket, football, hockey and tennis, along with our regular segments, Goal of the Week, Player of the Week and the sporting moments of the week. So let's get started with the cover story we are tracking this week. The Indian men's hockey team bowed out of the contention for a 2023 FIH World Cup after going down to New Zealand in a pulsating shootout that had to be decided via sudden death. Let's take a look at the 5 reasons that led to the downfall of a team that was widely expected to make it into the business end of the competition at the ongoing Hockey World Cup.
Failed to shift gears in crucial knockout games. Unlike champions teams like Australia, who went all the way to the podium after seeming to struggle in the opening games as they did in 2010 and 2018 Hockey World Cup, India failed to raise their level as the tournament progressed. The ever-dependable Harmanpreet Singh missing a sudden death shootout under pressure is a classic example of the Indian players choking up in really big moments. Failing to top Pool D proves costly. While England registered big wins against both Wales and Spain, the Indians fell short. After losing their first leg encounter against Spain in the Hockey Pro League, the home team appeared to be a tad too respectful for their opponents, unlike England, who repeatedly exposed weak links in the Spanish defense time and again. The Indians were also at disadvantage while having to take on Spain in their opening game as opposed to England, who had a lunge opener against Wales and used the game to find their bearings ahead of the bigger matches in Pool D. That said, India's inability to rattle World Cup debutants, Wales, set the stage for what was to follow. India's struggle against World Cup debutants, Wales. While the task may have been difficult, the Indians gave appearance of being a clueless bunch in search of minimum 7-goal target against Wales. England's unexpected big wins against Wales left India with no other option but to push hard for a flurry of goals against a team that had suffered heavy defeats to England and Spain. Boasting a forward line that is feared far and wide, the Indians were expected to provide spectators with a glimpse of their scoring prowess, but instead made heavy weathers of their final group game. New Zealand get their penalty corners right against India. The Indian think tank were well aware of what Kane Russell is capable of, but would have been stunned by sudden transformation in the quality of penalty corner execution for a side that failed to convert a single penalty corner against Chile and Netherlands. The Black Sticks scored 3 from open play against Chile and failed to get going with their drag flicks against Netherlands as well. The man who has 2 World Cup hat-tricks in the World Cup, Kane Russell, keeps Black Sticks in the contest. While the Indians did convert a couple of short corners themselves, their inability to score when it mattered most proved to be their undoing. Failed to capitalize in Hockey World Cup crossover game. The Indians have little to complain about following the loss. Over the course of a thrilling quarter, New Zealand came close, scoring the winner on a couple of occasions in the Hockey World Cup crossover against India. New Zealand were reduced to 10 men as Nick Ross picked up a yellow card in the 54th minute, but Harmanpreet Singh and company failed to seize the opportunity even with a one-man advantage. Shamsher Singh got 3 chances and missed every single time. Result: India crashed out from the Hockey World Cup 2023. There was little the Indians could complain about with all of their group matches scheduled for the evening with the backing of vociferous crowd and the crossover accidentally so. while several teams had to cope with daytime conditions. The 4-decade wait for Hockey World Cup glory continues for the Indian men's hockey team, who possibly missed opportunity of a lifetime. Sports Desk, DD India.
Now shifting focus to cricket. 3 balls after Rohit Sharma completed his 30th century in the ODI format, his partner Shubman Gill wrapped up his 4th century, his third in 4 innings. Then in the space of 2 overs, both the players departed. The 212-run opening stand in the 26 over largely featured classical strokes and occasionally a touch of innovation. They struck a combined haul of 22 fours and 11 sixes, and in the process, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill enhanced their reputation as the most formidable opening combination in ODIs right now.
Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill again enhanced their growing reputation as perhaps the most formidable opening combination in ODIs at the moment, something which augurs well for India as they build up towards the ODI World Cup on Indian soil later this year. Before their mammoth 212-run stand in the third and final ODI, Rohit and Gill's alliances in 6 ODIs India have played so far at home this year have yielded fertile results. 143 at Guwahati, 95 at Trivandrum and 33 at Kolkata versus Sri Lanka, and 60 at Hyderabad and 72 at Raipur against New Zealand. In 2023 so far, the deadly duo has added 615 runs in 6 ODIs, together an impressive show indeed. In Rohit and Shikhar Dhawan, India had a terrific white ball opening pair for a number of years. However, with Rohit going strong and Gill getting better every day, the new form looks really productive. Rohit Sharma scored his 30th ODI 100. The 35-year-old is now level at the 3rd spot with Australian great Ricky Ponting in the top century makers list in 50 overs international cricket, with only teammate Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar ahead of him. Matching Rohit stroke for stroke, Gill continued his blazing form in white ball cricket, cracking his 3rd 100 in the last 4 matches. Both the classy batsmen, who seem to have all the time in the world for their shots, combined in lethal fashion for India's 5th best and 7th 200 opening stand in ODIs, with Rohit and Gill in fantastic mood, taking advantage of mediocre attack and a rapid outfield. India fireworks filled start resembled a T20 innings. Sports Desk, DD India.
Mohammad Siraj has become the world #1 bowler in the men's ODI ranking for the first time, replacing Trent Boult at the top after India swept New Zealand 3-0 at home. Siraj took 9 wickets against Sri Lanka to be the leading wicket taker for the 3-match series and backed up that by claiming a 4-wicket haul in the opening match of the recently completed ODI series against New Zealand.
Mohammad Siraj has capped off a superb 12 months by claiming the #1 spot in ICC men's ODI player rankings for bowlers from New Zealand seamer Trent Boult. It's a remarkable rise of Siraj, who only returned to India's ODI setup in February last year following a 3-year hiatus without playing a 50-over match at the international level. Since then, Siraj has collected 37 wickets from 20 matches to be one of India's most consistent fast bowler, and the accolades have started to pile in for the underrated 28-year-old. On Tuesday, Siraj was named in ICC Men's ODI Team of the Year, and on Wednesday the right armer had another reason to celebrate as he went past Boult and Australia seamer Josh Hazlewood to become the top-ranked ODI bowler for the very first time. Not only has Siraj's form over the last 12 months have been imperious, but his efforts in ODI series at home earlier this month against Sri Lanka and New Zealand has shown just how much the right armer has improved in recent times. Siraj took 9 wickets against Sri Lanka to be leading wicket taker for the 3-game series and backed that up by claiming a 4-wicket haul in the opening match of the recently completed series against New Zealand. Indian captain Rohit Sharma was full of praise for Siraj when asked about emerging quick following the series whitewash over New Zealand.
About Siraj, I've spoken a lot about him. The more cricket he's played, he's become better in terms of understanding his bowling. I think in this game, it's understanding about what you can do, what is your ability, and the moment you understand that, I think you can be more effective for the team. And Siraj has exactly done that in the last couple of years that he has played, whichever format be it. You know, he has done really well. He understands what the team is expecting from him, to come and take the new ball, swing the ball, get early wickets. In the middle overs, again, he's got so much skills. He can come and do all those kind of skills. So the more he plays, the better he gets.
Mohammad Siraj comes from a humble background where his late father was an auto rickshaw driver while his mother worked as a domestic worker. He has played a lot of tennis ball cricket in local tournaments to earn money. While playing one of these tennis ball tournaments, Siraj was spotted and went on to play for Charminar Cricket Club in Hyderabad. Sports Desk, DD India. Like he has done many times before, Shardul Thakur did just that with his impactful performance with both bat and ball in the third ODI against New Zealand, which saw him win the Player of the Match award. And he is Sports 360 Player of the Week. India claimed the top spot in the ICC Men's ODI rankings after a series of whitewash against New Zealand at the Holkar Stadium in Indore. England, who had gained the top spot merely 3 days back following New Zealand's loss to India in the second ODI, are now in the second spot, with New Zealand slipping to the fourth spot.
The 2023 ODI Cricket World Cup is scheduled later this year in India. With an eye on that, the Men in Blue has started implementing its preparations. Since the beginning of 2023, the Indian team led by skipper Rohit Sharma has been winning matches one after the other. By winning the third ODI against New Zealand on Tuesday, Team India not only clean swept the Kiwis but also established its supremacy in the ODI rankings. Rohit Sharma and company have regained the top spot in the rankings after defeating New Zealand. Team India is now dominating the rankings, and under the leadership of Captain Rohit Sharma and coach Rahul Dravid, the Indian team is moving forward and the target is clear, that is to win ODI World Cup 2023. The Black Caps was at the top of the ICC ODI rankings before the 3-match ODI series against India. The team lost the top position after the defeat in the second ODI, and now after the loss in the third match, they further slipped down to 2 places. At the same time, India won the first ODI, a high-scoring thriller at Hyderabad by 12 runs, while their seamers helped them to an 8-wicket win at Raipur in the second game. And with the win in third and final ODI, they moved to the summit of the men's ODI rankings, also removing New Zealand from the top spot. The Men in Blue strengthened their position by winning this series, and with 114 rating points, India has reached the top of the ICC ODI rankings. At the same time, England, who had gained the top spot merely 3 days back following New Zealand's loss to India in the second ODI, are now in second position with 113 rating points. Australia is placed in the third position with 112 points, while New Zealand slipped to fourth spot with 111 rating points. Like ODIs, Team India is on top in the T20 format as well. At the same time, Team India is second only to Australia in Test rankings. In such a situation, India will fancy their chance to become number 1 in Tests by beating Australia in the Border Gavaskar series scheduled to be played next month. If England manage to win their upcoming ODI series against South Africa 3-0, they will displace India as the table toppers in the men's ODI rankings. Sports Desk, DD, India.
Cricket is a sport that is lavishly proud of its cultures, tradition and its history. The origin of the game of cricket can be traced back many hundreds of years, and the reason why the sport became so popular is an intriguing one. As far as the name of cricket is concerned, there is a theory that came into existence around the time of Norman conquest. And let's take a look at the history and evolution of the world cricket.
Evolution and history of cricket. Cricket is a sport which is rightly proud of its traditions and its history. The origins of cricket can be traced back many hundreds of years, and the story of how the sport became the one we all recognize today is a fascinating one. It is widely agreed, however, that the game derives from a very old and very widespread pastime often named club ball. That pastime involved one person hitting a stone, ball or wool or other object delivered to them by another with a wooden club. The first official record of a great match involving 11 players per side can be found in 1697. The match in question took place in Sussex and was played for what was then a very large sum of 50 guineas. From around 1700 onwards, more and more official cricket matches started to be recorded and written about. In 1709, the first ever inter-county match was held and pitted Kent against Surrey. Whilst the following year, Cambridge University were mentioned for the first time as having a cricket team. Many of these early official cricket matches took place either in North London or in and around Hambledon in Hampshire. With matches becoming more regular and widespread, the official laws of cricket were created and published in 1744 by the London Club. The document included the first official recording of a rule that a cricket pitch must be 22 yards in length. Over the ensuing decades, a number of other recognizable laws were established. In 1771, the width of a cricket bat was limited to 4 1/4 inches, and in 1774, the LBW law was first introduced. A major revision of the sport's early laws was then undertaken in 1788 by the newly formed Marylebone Cricket Club, who published their own updated laws of cricket. Leg before wicket first appeared in the laws of cricket in 1774 as batsmen began to use their pads to prevent the ball hitting their wicket. A major revision of the sport's early laws was then undertaken in 1788 by the newly formed Marylebone Cricket Club, who published their own updated laws of cricket. The first ever international match was played between USA and Canada on September 24, 1844, where Canada managed to win the match by 23 runs. In 1868, an Australian Aboriginal side toured England, and then in 1877, the first official test match between England and Australia was held. After the Australians beat England for the first time in 1882, a mock obituary for English cricket was written and the Ashes contest between the two nations was born. The origins of the structure and format of the game of cricket as we all know it now can be traced back to the late 19th century. The inaugural county championship was established in 1890 and 6-ball overs were adopted in 1900, replacing the previous 5-ball per over rule. The introduction of limited overs, single innings matches was undoubtedly the most fascinating and major sea change in the world of cricket. In England, such matches gained popularity in the 1960s and 1970s, and the first major limited overs competition, the Gillett Cup, was established in 1963. In 1971, the first ever one-day international game was played between England and Australia. Later on, several competitions, leagues and tournaments came into the picture, and countries like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, South Africa started playing international cricket more frequently. The England Cricket Board introduced T20 cricket at the country level in the year 2003. The shortest format of the game of cricket started to blossom in England and from there to other parts of the world. T20 cricket received a thunderous response from a plethora of fans. Soon after that, the ICC decided to organize the T20 Cricket World Cup. In 2007, T20 World Cup was held in South Africa, and as we all know, India defeated Pakistan in a thrilling final to clinch the World Cup title. As the tournament was watched and loved by so many people around the world, all cricketing nations had to accept the new format of the game to help globalize cricket. Recognizing the potential here, several national and international leagues were formed or reformed to reach greater heights. The BCCI decided to launch the IPL in the very same year that India managed to clinch their first T20 World Cup. It was a huge hit and has only continued to grow every year since then. The introduction of 2020 has been seemingly the most innovative and powerful improvement in cricket over the past decade. It has brought energy, enthusiasm and unmatchable excitement to the game. Sports Desk, DD India.
Now shifting focus to football, Marcus Rashford has added yet another goal to his tally of the season with an incredible solo run against Nottingham Forest in EFL Cup semi-final. And this is Sports 360 Goal of the Week. Indian tennis star Sania Mirza capped off her glorious Grand Slam career with a runner-up finish in the Australian Open mixed doubles final. Suryakumar Yadav has been named as the T20 International Cricketer of the Year for 2022 by ICC. Teams are out for the inaugural edition of the Women's Indian Premier League, and Manchester United registered a 3-goal victory over Nottingham Forest. This and more in the sports highlights of this week.
India's tennis ace Sania Mirza signed off her career with 6 Grand Slam titles after failing to win the Australian Open Mixed Doubles Trophy with compatriot Rohan Bopanna at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne on Friday. Bopanna and Sania lost 6-7, 2-6 to Brazilian pair of Lucia Stefani and Rafael Mateos in the title clash. Coming into her final major tournament, Sania had 6 Grand Slam titles, 3 women's doubles and as many doubles in her cabinet. The 42-year-old Bopanna has won French Open Mixed Doubles titles to his credit. Swashbuckling India middle-order batsman Suryakumar Yadav, who had an outstanding run in the shortest format in the year 2022, was named the T20 Cricketer of the Year by Sports' global governing body. Surya had a phenomenal run last year where he broke a plethora of records in the T20s. Popularly known as Sky, the 32-year-old amassed 1,164 runs in 31 T20 international matches at an average of 46.56 and a strike rate of 187.43 last year. He beat the likes of Sam Curran, Pakistan wicketkeeper batter Mohammad Rizwan, Zimbabwe's batting all-rounder Sikandar Raza for the top honour. The teams are out for inaugural edition of Women's Indian Premier League. Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru and Lucknow are the 5 city franchises. BCCI on Wednesday earned Rs 4,669.99 crore for the sale of 5 teams in the inaugural Women's Premier League, with Adani Sportsline shelling out a massive Rs 1,289 crore for Ahmedabad team, which emerged the most expensive franchisee. Marcus Rashford's sensational scoring streak continues, and Manchester United closed in on an EFL Cup final appearance at Wembley next month with 3-goal victory over Nottingham Forest. Rashford's brilliant solo effort gave United advantage 6 minutes into the first leg of the semi-final. Rashford's goal took his tally to 10 in as many as games since he returned from the World Cup, underlining his status as one of England's form players at present. Frank Lampard was sacked as Everton manager after less than a year in charge at the struggling Premier League club. Lampard was appointed manager at Goodison Park on January 31, 2022 after dismissal of Rafa Benitez, and a former Chelsea boss was able to steer the team away from relegation in the final week of the season. But Everton's performances and results this season have placed the club at risk of relegation from the Premier League for the first time, prompting the club to fire the 44-year-old. Sports Desk, DD India.
Wearing gloves and exchanging punches, young women boxers practice their skills in a boxing ring in Gaza, where the sport has been for decades limited to men. More in this report.
In Gaza's only boxing club for girls, 15-year-old Farah Abu trading jabs and punches with the other girls training with a coach, Osama Ayub, at the Philistine Boxing Center. Farah is practicing boxing since the age of 9.
Some people used to tell me, why boxing? What are you going to benefit from it? Go and learn something girly. On the contrary, I benefit a lot from boxing, and today my ambition is to represent my Palestinian people and take part in the World Championships and wave the Palestinian flag wherever I go.
I want to empower her and to fulfill her needs. I didn't hear from anyone. When she started training, she started to talk and have more confidence. She became happier and she changed to the best. Farah has founded a release from the daily stresses of life in Gaza, a narrow coastal strip where some 2.3 million Philistines lie blockaded by both Israel and neighboring Egypt.
We used to train in a small garage. We used to learn about the basics. We couldn't run and engage in basic boxing games. We didn't have a ring. We now have developed and opened the first ring in Gaza. Now we train according to the full rules, have better techniques and realize bad energy. We breathe better. I liked boxing since I was a child, and I hope I would do it inside a ring like today with all the main rules. I watched matches of Mike Tyson, who is a professional athlete, did boxing for 54 years, won lots of international championships and clinched the first spot. I am happy I'm here in a big place where we can train more and better inside a professional ring.
6 years ago, Ayub started with 2 girls. As more joined, they moved out of the garage and began training on the beach or in rented spaces before moving to a new club.
I wanted as a trainer to have a center for women only in order to become the first of its kind in Palestine. I had 40 female trainees. I was brave and had a goal to pursue. I took the girls to train in various clubs by the Corniche and near the beach. Society accepted to see girls doing boxing. This is the boxing ring as you can see it. We taught the girls the rules, how to box with their partner, how to punch each other and how they go to the white, blue and green. Now they understood the rules because they are training in the 5.5 meters ring, which is used for local and international competitions.
Now around 40 girls train in the center with its full-size boxing ring. Training equipments and posters of boxing heroes such as Mike Tyson on the walls, defying expectations in the region where boxing has traditionally been a sport for men. Sports Desk, DD India.
That's all in this edition of Sports 360 Degree. Before we wrap up, we leave you with the stunning visuals of the official match ball of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.
हाँ, जैसे सही वजन से ग्राहक होते हैं खुश, वैसे ही सही सुरक्षा से परिवार होता है कल की चिंता से मुक्त। इसलिए मेरी मानो, आज ही जुड़िए प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना और प्रधानमंत्री सुरक्षा बीमा योजना से, जो देती हैं 2-2 लाख रुपए का बीमा। दिखाइए समझदारी, निभाइए जिम्मेदारी।
आज ही अपनी नजदीकी बैंक शाखा या डाकघर जाकर इन योजनाओं से जुड़ें।
Do you think the politicians' stereotypical perception has changed in this journey of yours?
Definitely, what was earlier and now what is today has a vast difference. Even if you see the education profile, the social background and many other things in Parliament, where there are more than 900 members, many are on their own, without family background, without muscle power, without money power, without caste benefit also. But if you have a passion, if you have determination, discipline, dedication, and if you are ready to improve yourself every day,
राष्ट्रीय बाल पुरस्कार. Young innovators take center stage. Meet the change makers.
Since I really love to study about animals, especially reptiles, and I also wanted to spread that information around so that other people could enjoy the wonders of science.
Kavach is a bullying reporting mobile app through which victims and bystanders and parents can report bullying.
We need more researchers from a younger age, that is in high school, because that is when your curiosity is at its peak.
If children are future of the nation, our change makers assure us that we are in safe hands.
Hello and welcome to Startup Champions 2.0, the show where you meet and learn from National Startup Award-winning founders. In the episode today, you will learn from two startup champions from the enterprise system space. They are Annexi and Lead Squared. Bha, Ra and Ta. That means Bhav, Rag and Tal. A lot of entrepreneurs are building for Bharat. This means they are creating products and services that solve important problems for the next billion users in Bharat. The challenge here is that Bharat is one country, but it is many cultures, many languages, many educational backgrounds, many behaviors and generations with a rich history. To build for Bharat, you need data. Data that helps you deeply understand the next billion users. You know, they say that data is the new oil. They're right. In a digitally connected world, data is everything. Data is value, data is valuation too. And finally, data is decision and data is direction. To drive a car or to send a rocket to space, you need data. Similarly, to build a business and grow it, you need data too. And our startup champion can get you authentic data from Bharat, as they claim it to be. Let's now see the Annexi digital story.
We created a digital runner platform. The idea was that we will provide first KYC on demand, then data on demand, and now we are trying to become the growth partner for any organization, whether it is private or social organization, whosoever wants to scale to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 parts of India, we want to become that growth channel. In India, even if we talk about top 500 companies, they have offices or direct presence in maybe 100, 150 cities of India. Beyond that, they don't have a direct presence. But India overall has almost 748 plus districts. And if these companies want to scale from 150 to maybe next 500 districts, it is very difficult if they use the traditional approach where they hire their own people, they open up offices. It takes time and it is not scalable. They need something more modern. We have created this distributed network of digital runners who will go and do the activity which can help these businesses expand, or it could be social organizations also. So if there are companies who have aspirations to scale, we are providing whatever it takes, data, technology, manpower, everything is available on demand.
So Aarti and Govind, welcome to Startup Champions 2.0.
Thank you.
My first question to the both of you is, look, you've created India's reach engine. That's what you call Annexi to be. Let's now tell our viewers how you actually do it with your product. So here's your phone. Let's see how your app actually works and makes this all happen.
Okay. So it's like, it's this app, Annexi partner app, is available on Play Store.
Sure.
You can just go and download it. What we expect is people who are looking for jobs, especially part-time jobs in rural and semi-urban parts of India. Those youth, boys and girls, should use this because they will get opportunities which are within 7, 8, 10 kilometers of their area, and they can make money while doing it. And these are mostly phygital kind of tasks where they will need to go make a physical visit, go and talk to somebody, ask some questions, collect some data and input it into our mobile app, because of which they will be able to make money. If they do it correctly, they will make money. So we have this app, it has a lot of options related to first getting trained. So they need to undergo a particular training. They can see what all opportunities there are to work and the geography where they are available, so they can do that. While taking up any of these opportunities, they will need to also put their exact location where all they want to work. So they might have choice of, I'll show you, it's like, how it looks like. So these are various opportunities, what is at any moment of time available on our app. These are related to various sectors. It could be for private work, it could be for some social project. We work in both categories, and it could be for absolute rural areas like a farmer onboarding kind of stuff, or it could be any market mapping kind of job which is for a private company, and before they finally start, they need to choose exactly which villages they want to do, because India has like 600,000 villages, so they need to choose their exact state, and then they get option of choosing their exact district, and based on their selection they get the list of all villages and all talukas which are there. They can pick and choose the taluka where they want to work, and then they can pick and choose the set of villages whatever they connect with, right, which is within their purview. They can pick up those villages, submit it. They can modify this later on also. So once they submit it, we know at the back end that this particular person is going to work in all these geographies, so that it's easy for us to do quality check also, and also to give them opportunity focusing on that particular
So you fundamentally created very interesting economic opportunities for hyper-local networks in Bharat, right? On that note, my second question to the both of you is, look, what economic impact have you actually created? Let's now talk impact for all of these digital runners that you have.
So what is the problem? Why do youth go to urban areas? Because they want to earn more, right? And they already have some part-time task which they keep doing. They'll have some land, some agricultural land, some business there, but still the income is not consistent.
Sure.
So our initial aim was that if we are able to get our digital runners to earn 3,000 to 5,000 rupees a month through this platform, that is enough for them to have additional income on top of, which is almost 30% of their current income. So you can say, if you ask me impact, it's a 30% increase on their regular income what they make. And in this journey, some of our runners who have worked with us really well, and as you would know, we did vaccination awareness. In that time, in those hard pandemic times, some of our runners made 25,000 rupees a month, 30,000 rupees a month. So that was really overwhelming for us also, because that was the kind of impact that we could see on their livelihoods.
I'm sure, fantastic. So what's your business model? How do you actually make money?
So, we create tasks for our runners. It's like, so there are two ways. One is we charge our customers, which are private companies or social organizations who want to scale into hundreds of districts of India. So for them, we take up their task, whatever, it could be like a market mapping where they want to reach out to a particular category of retailers or stores in maybe in 100 districts.
Sure.
And in that case, we will charge them for every mapping activity which we do for them. And if there is profiling of stores, then we will charge them. Basically, we will split the work in various stages, like scope of work, and for each stage, customer is liable to pay.
Man killed at least 7 people and injured 10 others in a synagogue on the outskirts of Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the spot. He said measures have been decided. Several countries, including
Israeli settled also all Israeli raid in West Bank day earlier. Instead, the suspect was a 20-year-old resident known in next to Jerusalem 1967 Middle East war. Had to flee
to a vehicle. People who came to check and see what happened were also shot at that point. From this point, the terrorists got into the car and walked away about 3 meters. A police team that was at the intersection arrived. The terrorists opened fire in the direction of the policeman. They shot him back and killed him.
The attack comes a day after a deadly Israeli raid in the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. 9 Palestinians were killed, including an elderly woman, after dozens of Israeli soldiers attacked. The army said contained suspected fighters, leading to several hours of intense confrontations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site on Saturday. He urged people not to take the law into their own hands and said that measures around Israel's response has been decided.
I want to praise the policemen who came and acted quickly, bravely, and with extraordinary resourcefulness. They arrived within minutes. Unfortunately, even minutes can sometimes be too late. I just had a situation assessment with all the security authorities. We decided on some immediate actions.
India has strongly condemned the terror attack in Jerusalem. We strongly condemn last night's terror attack in Jerusalem. We extend our condolence to the family injured. State folks that official Israeli company doesn't state anti-Lincoln's visit.
This is absolutely horrific. Thoughts, prayers, condolences go out to those killed and injured in this heinous act of violence. We condemn this apparent terrorist attack in the strongest terms. Our commitment to Israel's security, we are in direct with our Israeli partners, and our thoughts are with Israel in light of this horrific attack.
On the other hand, Palestinians in West Bank and Gaza celebrated Friday attack in Jerusalem. The news of that by a gunman brought spontaneous and takes a break and fire together. A spokesperson for Hamas said that Friday's attack was a response to the crime conducted by the occupation in Jenin and a natural response to the occupation's criminal actions. Meanwhile, 2 people were hurt in a suspected Palestinian shooting attack around Jerusalem's Old City on Saturday. A police spokesperson told Israel's army radio, describing it as a terrorist attack. The assailant was neutralized. DD, India.
President Benjamin Netanyahu pledged a strong, swift and precise response to a deadly Palestinian shooting attack near a synagogue on Jerusalem's outskirts as its military sent more troops into the occupied West Bank. 7 people were killed in Friday's attack, 2 others wounded in another shooting in the city on Saturday. An Israeli military spokesperson said an additional battalion had been sent to the West Bank for reinforcement. There were no signs, however, of Israel preparing for a large-scale operation. This brief cross-border exchange with Gaza ended with no casualties. On Monday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is due to arrive for a 2-day visit to Israel and the West Bank, where clashes have worsened for months. Thursday's raid was the deadliest in years in West Bank, where Israel has stepped up operations since a spate of deadly Palestinian street attacks in its cities last year. Meanwhile, a funeral was held for an Israeli husband and wife after they were killed in a synagogue attack in Jerusalem. Eli and Natalie Mizrahi were among 7 Israelis killed by a Palestinian gunman in a synagogue on the outskirts of Jerusalem on Friday in an attack that heightened fears of viral in bloodshed. A day after the Israeli raid in his gun outside the area since 2008, had a year-old system, a senior group has 1,000 declaring a state of emergency late on Saturday. Police confirmed that a man missing after being swept away on Friday, a rural village about 70 kilometers south. An earthquake with a magnitude of 5.9 struck northwest Iran near the border with Turkey on Saturday, killing at least 2 people and injuring dozens. Iranian emergency officials said rescues were destroyed in Iran's province hospitals. An emergency official state TV it was showing in some of the affected areas with freezing temperatures and some power cuts reported. Major geological finds crisscross Iran, which has suffered some devastating earthquakes in recent years. Moving on, in China, Lunar New Year holiday trips inside the country surged 74% from last after authorities scrapped COVID travel curbs. China's state media reported on Saturday the number of these was still only half the pre-pandemic level. The official data number of deaths was a week behind 20 and 26th of January. Showed 6,000 COVID-linked deaths and 27 prevention. This compares in the Twitter. The number of people working in prosperous coastal cities head to their hometowns and villages for family reunions. This year's celebration is the first in 3 years without any form of lockdown curbs. China abandoned the strict zero COVID policy in early December after protests against the restrictions allowing people to travel and the virus spread rapidly throughout the country. Estimated 220 million demonstrators were missing flights during the holiday week, state broadcaster informed, citing government figures. Maldivian president won presidential election of Maldives democratically on Saturday. The sitting president has run in a re-election primary. President Soli faced off his Parliament Mohammed received 19,000 votes so far as compared to over 12,000 for Naid. President Soli received 61% of the votes cast during his campaign. President stated MDP have Maldives sticks and collaborate with other parties. He has released that before coalition with other parties, which he refers to as the winning formula, in order to continue the MDP's rule. Despite several challenges, President Soli's clear victory in Saturday's election secures him the presidential ticket on the Maldives' largest political party. Soli, 60 years old, who assumed the presidency in 2018 for a 5-year term, is the 7th president of the Republic of Maldives. He will run for the post of president in September elections. Kyrgyzstan's capital, Bishkek, was the most polluted city on Sunday morning, briefly. According to the Air Index, a global monitoring site, the air quality index in the city of almost a million was at 222, using a measure of different pollutants and particulates in the air. Air quality index at 300 and beyond is considered hazardous. Bishkek's AQI measure had fallen to 147, overtaking Pakistan's city of Lahore. In the head of the government's atmosphere agreed that people buying old catalytic for motor cars is all afford.
Cars in the generally world, 8% of cars are 50-year-old more. Catalytic converters in car have their lifespan. People are buying old catalytic converter for even older cars because it's all they can afford, while ecology take the sidelines.
And time for a short break. We'll be right back.
Lines that you wake up to. You states your day. Story that matter to you. This is most spirit update. From Tuesday to Monday to Friday.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people, the country and abroad in the monthly program on All India Radio today. It will be the 97th episode of the monthly program. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, AIR News website, News on AIR mobile app, from 11 a.m. onwards. It will also be live streamed on YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, PMO, and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. In his last Mann Ki Baat of 2022, Prime Minister Modi said the country had become the world's fifth largest economy. The President of the 77th session of United Nations General Assembly, Kaspar Korossi, will be on a 3-day visit to India from today. This will be the since he resumed the last year. Given Korosi's interest in his peace, he would the dignity of the first president. The IIJ will organize on road to 2023 to education 20 countries, 20 education meeting, 31st to 70 possible reason, collaboration, education 20 countries,